Welcome to the Hobby Jogger Podcast, where elite athletes and ham and eggers lace up their stories. We explore the common ground that running creates, from the world-class runner to the hobbyist hitting the pavement, trail, or treadmill. Expect a blend of inspiration, laughter, and the shared joy that makes every step count. Join us on this journey where every run is a story worth sharing. Welcome to this episode of the Hobby Jogger. Today I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Rob Myers. Rob, how are you?
Well, feeling pretty good today. I got out for a little over 7 miles, and it'd been a while, so I'm feeling pretty good.
I didn't get this guy has been lazy and didn't do much on Strava lately, telling me did good. So must not have been uploaded to Strava yet.
No, it hasn't.
Well, Rob, we have a very special guest today. One who I was recently following at their debut marathon and have followed in the past, was previously, maybe still is, coached by a previous guest. We have Miss Abby Herring on. Abby, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I know I had kind of eyeballed you as a guest when I had Caleb on before Western States. You know, you had just got done with nationals, probably right around that time.
Yeah.
I was kind of cheering for you there. You know, one of Caleb's runners make it to nationals. Pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah. So it was following you, and congratulations on the Columbus Marathon. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It was definitely an experience. Learned a lot.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You don't know about running that far until you run that far. You can read about it, talk about it, you know, whatever. But until your body experiences it and does it, it's a whole different game. So yeah, glad to hear that you have learned and hopefully enjoyed yourself out there while you were doing it.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good experience. So after, I'm completely going rogue right now. I'm sure you had questions to ask first, but
This whole show is rogue, Abby, so don't worry.
We just roll with it.
Yeah, right after first rounds. So the first round of nationals for track, maybe like 2 weeks after I had competed, I ran a marathon off of really no training to try and qualify for the Boston Marathon. And so that was just like a super chill event. I ran one up in Charlevoix, Michigan in early June.
Okay.
And I got a BQ there. And honestly, like the marathon, it was super flat. There wasn't a ton of people. My teammate, Kylie Maston, she had come and run the second half of the marathon with me, but we just treated it like a normal run. Made it through, was fine. And then Columbus was an experience. I definitely went into it going a lot faster and didn't have a great fuel plan I set up. And so around mile 17, I just kind of stopped taking in the fuel, and it got me at the end, but big PR in the marathon.
Yeah, no, I was just looking up the results. You were 7th, and you actually, so you know how in Strava, your group, like I ran with these people.
Yes. Yeah.
You were grouped with a good friend of mine, very good friend, one of my best friends, and guy Caleb knows, Will Walmsley, who lives up here. He went down. He ran his first marathon, so he was somewhere near you the whole time.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so it was fun to watch you both, and root for you guys. I didn't realize that was your second marathon, however.
Yeah, this was the one that I had trained for, I guess you could say. The first one was honestly just like go out and try and finish.
That's the name of the game for me. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, that's always the goal, right? Just to get across the finish line. Doesn't matter if I'm crawling. I just want to cross the finish line.
A goal is to finish always. So are you originally from West Virginia, or did you just go to college there?
I am. I'm from Parkersburg, West Virginia, which is about 2 hours from Huntington.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought so, and you also had a West Virginia area code, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is Caleb still coaching you?
Yes. So I asked him after I graduated if he would write me a plan leading up to the Columbus Marathon, which was 2 weekends ago. And so I told him I really didn't want to focus on doing workouts just yet. I think my body and just honestly like mentally needed a break from just here's the pace you have to hit, and just it was nice just for a couple months to not worry about paces so much and just go based off mileage. And so he wrote me a mileage plan to have over the summer and then through this fall leading up to the Columbus Marathon. But I think now I'm gonna try and implement some long run workouts in there. And so he'll write me another one. He's still coaching me, even though it's not, I guess, like his traditional martial athlete coach relationship. It's some outside experience.
Yeah, and he certainly knows what he's doing. Also, I know it probably wasn't the result he wanted this past weekend, but no, still a heck of a finish for a big race. So finishing the top 10 at Javelina. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think honestly, getting to the finish line at those races is just an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, just a goal to finish.
Yeah.
How did you start out running, Abby? Like, I mean, not many people make it to nationals. I know when you made it to nationals, it was, at Marshall, that's a big deal. Like to make it to the women's final, the men's final, whatever, like that is a big deal. Had you always been at the top? Like since you probably ran like at a pacer club, like a youth pacer club or something, I imagine growing up, right?
So I started running late middle school. I started running in 8th grade and I joined just because my friends were in it. I played tennis all when I was growing up. I was in a whole bunch of random sports like tennis and took a dance class here, took a swim, was on a swim team at one point. But I started running, I guess, more seriously in high school. I competed for 4 years and then decided to run in college, but I wasn't anything great. I was very average. When I came to Marshall, I was probably like 4th or 5th on the team. And then it wasn't until my junior year here that I really started moving up and getting, I guess, just like the training was paying off and acclimating to all the mileage. And then that's whenever my time started going down.
That's tough in college sports. What year did you go into college?
I graduated in the spring of 2019.
Okay.
And so I went to college in the fall of 2019. And then, as we all know, COVID hit that spring and it was just kind of everything shut down. And so we were sent home from college and kind of just without, it was weird from an athlete's perspective because we were training for an outdoor track season, which never happened. And then it's like you're training through the summer and you don't know if you're going to have a cross country season. And the fall rolls around and you're training for a cross country season that you don't know if it's going to happen or not. And so that was a really weird time to be an athlete and just you not knowing whenever you're going to be able to race. And I guess from a coaching perspective too, it's like, when do you have your runners peak? Like, are they going to have a conference meet? Are they going to be able to race? And so it was just a really weird time for everyone. So I would say that probably put another setback on things. Yeah, it was an interesting experience.
Yeah, it's an interesting time overall in college athletics right now that, you have NIL money starting to come into sports and like, I know, obviously famously Parker Valby had NIL money, then switched companies and went to New Balance, I think, for a lot of money, which good for her, which you were on the starting line with her at nationals. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that had to change a bit of the dynamic too in college. I think I maybe talked to Caleb a little bit about that. So in college, I thought about this today. Is it pretty normal for all, because obviously the sprinters don't run cross country, like the 100-meter guys and girls do not run cross country. The 200-meter, maybe the 800-meter does. I don't know. That's a pretty painful event, but is it pretty standard for everyone to have a track season, an indoor track season, and cross country season?
Yes. So I would say everyone who's on the cross country team is going to run indoor and outdoor. And so that's really honestly what's so unique about distance running is that you're competing all year round. Like The fall is cross country, and then you go straight into indoor. You have a small break from like, I would say Thanksgiving and Christmas, but that's like, it's a hard training point. And then indoor, outdoor, straight into summer training, which I would say is typically the hardest training block of a distance runner. It's the heat, it's the workouts, it's just everything combined. And so, yeah, going through each of those seasons, you can just feel your body breaking down a little bit more every season.
Hey folks, if you're loving the stories, tips, and laughs we're dishing out, make sure you don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And hey, if you've got a second, why not leave us a review? Your feedback helps us improve and keeps this running community growing. Lace up, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the show. Dude, that is a brutal schedule. I guess I never put that together that, yeah, all the distance runners would run all 3 seasons in college, and that doesn't leave, if you're a soccer player, you play soccer, you have the off season, you lift weights, do whatever, hang out with your friends, come around to the season, it's time again. But probably doesn't leave you much of a social life in college, I imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, my social life was pretty much with people on the team.
Yeah.
And so it's who you're around most. And a lot of times your values will align with theirs. And so my best friends were all on the cross country and track teams. And so, I mean, we made the most out of our Sunday morning long runs or our workouts on Fridays. So yeah, they definitely made that experience great.
And that really doesn't change as you get older. I mean, Casey and I are significantly older than you, and most of my friends are runners. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. Yeah, not a whole lot changes in that respect, and it makes sense because my friends were people who played soccer and whatnot, and like you said, your values align. You all have to get up Sunday morning and hit the long run. Saturday morning you can't be at the frat party till 4 a.m. or whatever. So yeah, that makes
exactly.
sense.
You make your own fun.
So, and I'm ignorant to this as well. I guess I could have done research, Abby. How do you qualify for nationals in college? Is it time-based? Is it winning like an invitational race? How does that work?
So for cross country, this is a little bit confusing, and I get confused even when I'm explaining it. So for cross country in the fall, everybody goes to the conference meet, and then there's a regional meet after conference. Everybody goes to regionals. At regionals, they take a certain amount of teams. I want to say it's like 3 teams to nationals. So the top 3 teams in the region, it could be 2, I'm not sure, but they take so many teams, and then whoever's on those teams, they pull those girls out of the top. So let's say girls from the top 3 teams all place in the top 5. Well, then the 6th runner would be the first individual to go, and they're going to take, I believe, 2 individuals. And so I ended up getting 6th place at regionals, and I was the 2nd individual to go. So 4 of the girls in front of me were on a team, and then they took me and another girl as the individuals to go to nationals for cross country. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it does. What team were they on?
Gosh, I don't even remember.
Yeah, don't even know, don't even care. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I had made it to nationals. Caleb had told me before like the run, he's like, you have a chance to do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And then after I finished, everyone was like super stoked. Like, why are we so excited? And yeah, I had made it and I didn't even know.
Nice. That's the best. I like that. It's similar to kind of winning your age group, I guess, then, Rob, for me, I just, once the guy hands me the pin, it's a big deal to me.
Yeah, I guess it's similar.
I mean, not really, but I guess in the same fashion of finishing. I don't really know where I'm at, but try and draw some sort of parallel to myself there. I guess not a good one, but so you qualify at regionals, Abby. Big deal. I know. Caleb, super proud of you for that. I saw him posting on social media. I believe maybe Marshall, I saw it or something as well. You make it through to nationals, and I watched the national finals. Are they in Oklahoma? Am I wrong?
So this past year, they were in Charlottesville, Virginia, which no, that's okay. I think they were in Oklahoma at some point. Um,
Okay.
so it was in Charlottesville, Virginia at Panorama Farms. It's a super hilly 6K course.
Okay. So it's in Charlottesville.
Yes, so not too far. I'd say like 5 hours.
Yeah. I maybe the year before they were in Oklahoma. But yeah. So I was watching it and it's awesome. It's really cool because it's this massive start. There's how many
I
we
think
don't
there's
do a whole
250-ish girls there.
okay. So 250 starters on the line and the women run 8K, correct?
6K.
6K. The men run 8K.
Yes.
I don't understand that. I don't
Or
know
maybe
why.
it was 10K. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. Either 8 or 10K.
Yeah, some Ks, some amount of Ks
Yeah.
that you ran there down at Nationals. So, and the start is really cool. If you're listening to this and watch the start of either the men or the women's national finals, it's pretty awesome. Like just this big field. Do they drop a rope or something? Maybe I don't know. And then it's just
It's insane. There's a starter out in the grass field, maybe like 200 meters in front of everyone.
yeah, that poor guy's just standing out there ready to get run over.
Yeah. Maybe not even 200 meters, but I mean, he just shoots the gun and then stands very still while everyone goes around him. Yeah, it was a crazy experience. I know we were doing like strides on the start line. So every team has their box, and then there's a tiny sliver for all the individual people who made it. And everyone's very serious there. No one's very happy-go-lucky at the start line. So everyone's kind of standing there, not talking. But I look over my shoulder, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Caitlin Toohey like doing a stride right beside me. Like, this is crazy. Yeah, it was a really cool experience getting to see all the people that you would see in all over social media or getting these big awards, breaking records, and you're right there with them. So that was something really cool to experience. Unfortunately, I did have COVID at the time. My trainer and I, we were both really sick. I guess we got really sick the night or two before the race and yeah, wasn't feeling great. And then that next day after nationals, I ended up taking a COVID test and it was positive. So it didn't go as well as it could have, but I'm glad I was there. It was a good experience. Could things have ended better? Yeah, but it is what it is.
You made it there. That's commendable. That's quite an honor. I mean, I never made it to nationals, so I'm jealous of you. I'm sorry to hear about getting sick for the big one because
Yeah, no, I mean, just being there was really cool, and that was such a big accomplishment. So
yeah, because that's somewhere where you train that hard and you put all that work in, and you just want to send it and just hey, let's see see where the chips fall and very sorry to hear that I didn't realize that you had come down sick for that or
oh yeah, it's okay. It is what it is. And I mean, looking back, not that I could have changed anything, but there was so many people just like throughout that time I didn't even know were keeping up with like my running or things that I was doing. And they were shooting me all these texts and giving me phone calls and taking pictures of me on ESPN. And so I guess just realizing all the support I had was just another plus of it. So whether I raced well or not, it was a good experience.
hey, I didn't know you at all, and I was rooting for you. So,
Oh, thanks.
so I was, definitely rooting for you and Caleb down there, and awesome to see, someone, associated friend of a friend, do so well. So, yeah, very happy to see that.
Thank you.
So, you wrapped up nationals, and you graduated, correct?
Yeah, so I graduated in the spring.
Okay, so you're graduated, and still, obviously, you still like running. You're still part of the running community. You decided, I'm going to go run a marathon.
Yeah, so the majority, I'd say my friend group kind of all graduated after, or I guess at the same time that I did. I had a couple friends who stuck around, they were great, but a lot of my friends who had already kind of closed off their door of collegiate running started running marathons, and they were, I qualified for the Boston Marathon. Abby, you should try and do it. Well, the window, like the application window, it opened early October. And so I was like, well, I'm going to have to find a marathon and run one fast. And so I just decided I would just sign up for one right after first rounds from track. And yeah, I ended up getting the Boston qualifier, and now I'm applied. I've going in April. It should be a good experience.
Yeah, what was the first time that you ran? When you just ran it just to
2:57, which I believe is 6:45 pace.
2:57. Okay, because
That is fast.
yeah, that's not bad for just going out there just to, to go around the track, as they say. So yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, you're well under. I don't know what the qualifying time is for.
I believe it's 3:30, but that's without the buffer. So really it's like 3:20.
Yeah, Will was trying to explain to me the buffer the one time, and I was like, dude, I don't, it's complicated. Let's just leave it at that. Just tell me what time you have to run and I have to root for you to run, and we'll make that our goal, I guess. So yeah, that's awesome. So you qualified for Boston and you're a teacher now, correct? Did I read that in your bio?
Yes. So I am currently still in my master's program. I'm getting my master's in literacy education. And while I'm working towards that, I have a graduate assistant position at a preschool. And so I help teach at the preschool currently.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good job. I mean, that's awesome work. No, very noble work. I think we need more teachers for sure, especially competent ones, right, Rob? That's always a good,
Yeah, great place to start. You don't want to deal with those teenagers anyways. They're nothing but a pain.
No, gosh, no. If I had to teach a grade, I think I could do second through fourth. I think I could.
That's the sweet spot for me. I would say first through third is probably my sweet spot. I love preschool, don't get me wrong, but that's I got my bachelor's in elementary, and so that's kind of where I would like to end up in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Rob, what would yours be? You'd be like the high school gym teacher, probably.
That actually would be fun.
That would be bad.
But, second through fourth, the kids can go to the bathroom on their own and get their lunch out on their own at that point, right?
That's my babysitting rule, is if you need me to babysit, your kids have to be able to do things themselves. Like I want no parts of that. So that makes sense. Yeah, I can't.
It's a good rule.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Will's kids were just at the edge of it. I am the best substitute babysitter ever. So
It's a good title.
Yeah. I am the king of that domain. But now we're getting to the good stuff, because you're out of college. Not the good stuff. College is awesome. We'll edit that part out. But we're focusing on the Columbus Marathon.
Yes.
First, what made you decide on the Columbus Marathon?
So my friend Maddie, she ran with me all throughout college. She lives in Columbus currently, and she ran it last year, and she was like, you have to do it. It's the most magical experience ever. Course is flat. It's also close-ish to Huntington. And so I just thought staying, I guess, in this area for a good first real effort would be the way to go. But I'm super glad I did it. Great atmosphere.
Oh yeah. Tremendous atmosphere. I know that was kind of Will's thoughts as well of picking it kind of close to home, flat. Didn't want the hills of Akron. So yeah, definitely flat. And what was your goal going into it? I mean, you had already run a 2:57 marathon. So obviously we're going to try and drop a little bit of time. Did you have like a place in mind? Did you have just a time?
Honestly, I wanted to do just better than I had the first marathon, I think was just my goal. Yeah, I started off, I guess we didn't really think too much about parking. We're like, we'll just get there, and, the corrals open at 6, but like the race doesn't start till, I don't even, maybe like 9 or 8, I don't remember. But we got there, and it took us like an hour to park, and then you gotta find where the corrals are at and all the things. And didn't really put into perspective how long all that would take. And so I showed up like 1 minute before the race started. Like I got in the corral and I was in the very back. And then fireworks went off and we were going. And so at that point when I was in the corral, I was like, yeah, whatever happens today happens. Like if I'm running like 730 miles, that's fine. And so I guess it changed. Once the race went off, I was like, okay, I got to work my way through this crowd. And then I think I dropped like a 6:38 or 6:40 mile for the first mile. I got in that mindset of just trying to catch, the people in front of you and, keep going through the crowds. And I think I kept that mindset for a little bit too long because I was dropping like 6:15s, a couple 6:10s for like the first like 18 miles, I want to say. And then felt great. And then my stomach started hurting and I stopped taking in fuel. And I think that was like, Abby, that was not a good decision.
Yeah, that's the detriment of a lot.
Yeah. Everyone's last words.
Yeah, famous last words. Did you happen to remember passing a guy who you thought, wow, this guy's way too big to be running this fast after this many miles? Did that ever cross your mind by any chance?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
All right. Because our
If
buddy
you saw him,
Will.
you'd remember.
Yeah.
You'd remember.
I would remember.
Yeah, our buddy Will, well, he should be competing in the Clydesdale division. He's a former rugby player with me, but
Oh, cool.
yeah, he's the one that you ran with for a large portion of it. So you did start out behind him a little bit, because I was tracking, like, I had a handful of people I was tracking. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, I really expected Abby to start out before Will. And what's Will doing? Like he's sending it down the road.
I was in the very back of Corrale, so that's probably why. But I mean, there was a group of people that it was probably like 50 people that we were running with. I'm sure your buddy Will was one of them. I mean, just like going, like passing these people and then they'd pass us back. And it was just like a whole experience. Towards the end, it got to the point where like people were like stopping and like they were on the ground. And then I would keep jogging past them, just trying to make it to the finish. And they'd sprint by me and then they'd stop again. I'd pass them. And then things got crazy for like the last 3 miles of that marathon.
Oh yeah, things get intense out there in the marathon, and you'll see. I went down to the finish line of the Akron Marathon here, and yeah, I saw a couple people on the ground.
Yeah.
You see some things. There's right out my house. It's about 100 meters to the north, and the route goes through there. It's about mile 23.
Oh yeah. That's a rough spot.
Yeah, you see some puking, you see some people ducking behind cars. It gets pretty nasty out there. So yeah, it's marathon's not easy.
As of late, I've been obsessed with the marathon nutrition because Casey and I are primarily trail runners.
Yeah.
And nutrition, again, not a exact dialed in science by any means, but road marathon runners are just so fast. Like, how do you dial in your nutrition? Because your body can only absorb so many calories, so many carbs, right? And you're moving so fast. It seems like a totally different world. A different plan is needed compared to trail running, where in comparison, we're running a lot slower. So what was your plan?
So my plan going in, which is what I did for Charlevoix, again, I kind of kept the same. I negative split at the Charlevoix Marathon, the one that I had ran in June right after track season. And so my plan there was to just take in Cliff Blocks. I don't love gels. I think I really need to start using them though and just start training with them because they're so much easier than like the gummies or the Cliff Blocks. But that was my plan for Columbus as well, was to use those. So start at mile 5 and then every 3 miles take them in. So 5, 8, and then so on. I really need to start looking into some gels though, because they're just so much easier to take in. And then the blocks. Have you guys ever had the Cliff Blocks?
Oh yeah.
They're just so thick, and they're just like once you start chewing them, they're turning to like It's not good.
So one thing that helps with Cliff Blocks, put them in the freezer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
freeze them and just let them dissolve slowly. Like don't even try to
Yeah.
chew them. It does help quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Because I mean, at the point when I took the last one that I did, I was like, this is torture. It's like I don't want to take any more of these.
Well, you're probably you qualify for at least close to like elite status, right, Abby? I mean,
So for Columbus, I think elite was they had elite one, like tier one and tier two. I qualified for tier two,
well, now you're tier one, right?
maybe.
You should be, but like I think because when you do, you get to have like water bottles at.
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
So that's a big help where then you get just, you can have straight liquid calories every, I don't know how far they allow you to do that, but that would be, I mean, that's what I use, Rob, is Tailwind. That's 90% of what I eat is just liquid stuff.
Yeah, I do the same. I switch back and forth between Tailwind and water and put in some gels, and big fan of the gummy worms, gummy bears.
Oh, yeah.
But most marathoners can't use Tailwind because they just have to take the cup from the table.
Yeah, which is again, and that's like a whole another Olympic event is getting the water in your mouth from one of those cups.
You're right. Because especially like you're running, 6:15, 6:10 miles.
Yeah, it's really like I kind of got it towards the end of this marathon. You have to like take the cup and grab the top of it and make it like almost like a triangle shape into your mouth.
Yeah.
Try to funnel it in, but yeah, the first couple stops it was just going all over like my neck and my shirt.
It's the worst. And then you pick up one. I've only run one marathon, but I've run some halves, and I did it. I think it was Las Vegas. The nice young man told me it was water. It's pretty hot in Vegas, like it's dry. He told me it was water, and I just on the face, and it was not water.
Oh,
It was Gatorade. Yeah, it was Gatorade or whatever,
Oh,
Yeah. And he might not have, maybe I misunderstood because I do have listening issues at times. And he might have told me correctly. But yeah, next thing I know, my eyes are like sticky and my face is sticky and everything's sticky. So yeah, got a big old face of Gatorade in him.
oh, that's
my
the worst, especially in the Vegas sun. Oh man.
Well, it's at night. It's at night on the strip. So at least it was at night. Yeah. But that's a fun one. It's the Vegas Strip half marathon in February. So, but yeah, fueling. That's one thing. It took me a while to figure out in the trail world, but I'm carrying a vest that I can just pull stuff, and I have no problem just walking for a minute. Where, when Abby's sending it down the road, a little bit tougher to eat and drink at a 6:15 pace than it is a 15-minute mile. So hopefully you can get that figured out for the next one.
Yeah, I definitely want to start training with some gels and see how that goes. Maybe even having like a handheld and then trying to wash the gel down with like some water or like how you guys said Tailwind. Well, I don't know. We'll just have to experiment and see.
I recommend Never Second or Sports and Science. I'll send you it's not affiliated with us at all, but I'll send you a Never Second discount code.
Oh, perfect.
when we're done here. So you have that I don't know what it is, but
well, make sure you do that right away, Casey, because you've been promising me that for I think a month, maybe a little over a month.
Oh, have I?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to remind me.
Well, I am right now.
That's my fault. Well, you should have like texted me like, "Hey, dude, like."
Yeah, it's more fun to remind you on the podcast.
Yeah, he needs that discount code.
Yeah, so I'll send you that. I have to look it up and see what it is. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to hide it from Rob or the listeners right now. It's in a text message somewhere, and I gotta get it. So we're qualified now for Boston. We're entered into Boston, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Entered into Boston. So mid-April, I was say April 16th. I don't know if that's right though. It's on a Monday, which is so random to me, but that'll be my next thing.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising that it's on a Monday. I never understood that. I would think Sunday would be much easier to kind of keep traffic down and such. But hey, they've been doing it a long time. They know much
Yeah.
better than I do. I'm not going to second guess them.
Hasn't failed them yet.
Has not failed them yet. So what is our plan going into Boston? What are we are you an Elite One at Boston now due to the Columbus time? Do you know?
I don't think so, because they take your like the time that you submitted at the beginning, like before October.
Gotcha. So they don't update it for you.
No, I am in the first corral, or I guess the one behind the Elite corral.
Oh, okay.
But plans going into it, I want to start doing some workouts again, probably just in the long run, and then figuring out the fueling for sure. But I have quite a few months to figure it out. So yeah, I think for me is from Columbus, my big takeaways were I hadn't run that fast in a long time. I had just been doing some easy miles since June. And so yeah, definitely getting some speed back, and then making sure I'm fueled out throughout the race, because I really didn't think the wall, I knew the wall existed. I really did, but I wasn't expecting it to hit that hard.
Yeah, that's the first time you hit it, it's just come pow, like you got hit with a baseball bat all of a sudden. Rob, you've been there, you know.
Oh yeah. You can't find the wall. The wall finds you.
Yeah.
You never know when.
Yeah. It doesn't discriminate either.
No, I mean, last time I hit it was actually at Grindstone, but at least I was only like a couple 100 feet away from the finish line, and it just pow cracks you right. Like everything's going great. You're fine. It's all good. Next thing you know, it's like you get hit in the face with a baseball bat. So
yeah, all of a sudden it gets you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, you're not going to have sun at Boston. Probably it's going to be 45 degrees and chilly there. So it's known for the weather, I know, up there, and net downhill course too, right?
Yes. So I think the first half is all downhill, and then the climbs start coming. And I guess you always hear people talk about Heartbreak Hill, but I guess that's just like the last one of the few. The one they say the one leading up to it is worse, but that's the one that gets people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always watch it. I'm, a fan of the sport, obviously, since I have the Hobby Jogger podcast, right, Rob? There's got to be at least a fan of the sport to watch it. But yeah, I'll be tuned in. It's cool. I hope for bad weather, because like to me, like I want to see carnage and just,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like my favorite running of the Boston, I don't know what year it was, but there was a Japanese fella who no one knew, and he just sent it out of there. And it was cold and rainy, and the Kenyans are miserable. They've got like jackets on running, and this Japanese guy is just sent it. Ended up winning. Like I think he was like a factory worker or something from Japan.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was my favorite Boston Marathon that I've seen. So anything can happen there. So best of luck to you at Boston.
Yeah, and Abby, if you want to do a little research, previous guest Elizabeth Clore, she wrote a book called Boston Bound. It's a pretty fast read, but it's a good read.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it, because honestly,
hey, and there it is.
He's got it right here.
Keep it on my desk.
I want to learn more about the race, and honestly, like I've just been asking Caleb. Even he went, I think 2 or 3 times, but I've just been like, okay, how does the school bus work? I've heard you have to ride on a school bus. Like, where to stay? What hills are the worst? How do you take it out? So yeah, that's definitely a book I should read.
Yeah, and she was an awesome guest. Elizabeth, very cool, very intelligent, and especially when it comes to training, and especially the mental aspect of like getting over the hump of, I mean, I don't know how many times now she's qualified and ran it. Maybe I'm sure we asked her, I'm sure we talked about it. I just don't have it off the top of my head, but yeah, very experienced, very cool. And yeah, looking forward to, you'll be one of the people I'm tracking up there. I think I got a handful going up again of friends, and so awesome you get to take part in it,
Yeah.
Very cool, and looking forward to watching you do that. And what do you have planned after that? What are your goals or aspirations as far as running?
So I I'd always told myself I'd never do an ultra marathon, but the other day my roommate and I were watching like the Javelina 100. We were like, man, we could do an ultra marathon. So we were like conspiring how we could like make our debut. Definitely not 100-miler. We were thinking more of like, I'm not sure if you guys tuned into Javelina, but like the 31K that started and it was like a party. They kept showing everyone the start line. We're like, we would start with something like that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, just like even running the marathon was something I never thought I'd do. I think it was maybe when I was like a sophomore in college. I said the day I ran a double, I don't know what I was going to do. Or the day I went over 50 miles in a week and I ran 80 in training. Yeah. Who knows? My goals are changing all the time. Every month I'm like, well, maybe I could do a little bit more. So we'll see.
That's generally how it starts out, right, Rob?
Yeah.
Tale is always time.
It's like an addiction. You start with the 5K. I mean, I started off as like a miler and then I inched my way into the 3K and then it was the 5K and then it turned out to be the 10K. And so, yeah, who knows?
Well, one race I would recommend, only because your very good friend, Caleb, I don't know if he has the course record, but I know he's won it several times, is Highland Sky in your backyard.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite race in this country. Run it a couple of times.
Oh, no way.
Highly suggest running it if you want to make the transition over to the ultra world. It's in your backyard. Very challenging, very, very fun race.
That's the 40-miler?
It's actually 42, which still
Okay.
bothers me because they say it's 40 miles and it's not. It's like 42
Your
and a
watch
half.
hits 40 and you're done. Checked out.
Yep.
That is a big mental barrier when that
Yeah.
happens. Like 50K, you hit mile 31 and you still can't hear the finish line. It's like, oh man, it's not good. But yeah, I know, Abby, with the group of friends that you have down there in Huntington, we will see you on the start line of an ultra at some point within the next couple years, because between Caleb and Holly Ann, I know they will have you on you will see what they do and they will have you on the start line of some ultra somewhere, no doubt, because Holly Ann's a killer too.
Oh, Holly Ann's insane. She's an inspiration.
Yeah, she's awesome. She ran the I just saw her up here for the Burning River. She won the women's 50-mile and was real close to being maybe winning overall, maybe being second. I don't know. But yeah, got to talk to her a little bit up here. She's awesome.
She's incredible.
Yeah, certainly is. Look forward to seeing her. But yeah, you guys have quite the little running community down there in Huntington. And
yeah, ultra marathon has almost been normalized with how many people do them here.
Yeah, like Dan Green, I know that was probably one of the people you were watching out at Javelina, I'm sure. Yeah, friend of his. So yeah, awesome down there what is going on in Huntington, and certainly look forward to following you on your career, Abby. And we just want to thank you for coming on,
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time out and sharing your story of, growing up and then going on to nationals, which is awesome. And then continuing, getting a top 10 at Columbus. First time really, going out there and doing that. So that's awesome. So thank you so much, Abby, for your time. And Rob, thanks for joining us as well. Thanks for co-hosting.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah.
So Abby, where can our listeners find you? Your Instagram handle?
I wasn't sure because she's private on Instagram, so I didn't.
Oh no, you can follow me. It's Abby ABBY .Herring HERRING. Strava. Yes, just Abby Herring. Click on the bio. It says Marshall U XCTF alum.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hobby Jogger. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support keeps us moving forward. Until next time, keep those feet moving and enjoy the miles.